brave explorers, and totally tubular friends. You are now tuned in to the Disney Holic Show.
Hello and welcome to the Disney Holic Show. That's Mike TV.
And that's Jen Tiz.
In today's episode, we journey deep into the jungle and travel back in time to experience the magic of Disneyland's special events. Join us as we explore the wild adventures of Adventureland Day and rewind to a neon silk nostalgia of Disneyland's After Dark 90's night.
Jam-packed.
I love our
Jam-packed.
intros.
So many topics today.
What was that?
So many topics. A lot of things.
Oh my gosh, there's so much going on that I had to cut a big piece out of today's episode because I'm going to make an entire episode about it. And that was
Ooh.
the previously discussed Indiana Jones Spotlight series that they did at the Imagineering Studios. And I'm going to actually give that its own thing. So last week,
Bum-ba-dum.
right? Last week, Indiana Jones celebrated its 30, or Indiana Jones Adventure in Disneyland celebrated its 30th anniversary. Went to a special event all about it, and it was very cool. And I want to deep dive into it, and I have not had the time, so I'm going to hold that for a whole episode. But in the meantime, I've done some other really cool things, so I figured we could talk about those today. But first, we're going to have a check-in
Ooh.
about our living situation. And the reason I
Ah.
bring this up, Mike, I have seen a lot of friends of the pod over the last week, and we're getting some feedback. Do you want to know what it is?
I was very happy to see one of our friends of the podcast, shout out Natty Shay, saying she's just loving seeing us both live our best lives on both coasts near Disney. And, that kind of stuff, it means a lot because that's really what we're trying to do to make us happy human beings. And it's nice to share that with other people, other Disney holics who
Yes.
enjoy. And it's so unique that we can offer that, is what she said, I believe.
Yep. And I am also getting similar, well, identical feedback actually from almost everybody I've ran into. Like people like, I just like am so happy hearing you guys so happy and like living your best lives just like that. So people are feeling it and I'm feeling it. So I know you're feeling it. We're like, I guess we're all just feeling it. So,
Actually,
um,
I was out at the parks with a friend and I was posting a bunch of things at Epcot, and she goes, uh, how do you and Jen like figure out when to post and you're not like overlapping? And it's funny because it's kind of just we just do it without talking. Like I can tell when you're in the park and you're going to be there posting live stories for a while, and then I go, okay, so I'm not going to post because I don't want to mess up the stories. And then so I'll be like, okay, I'm going to focus on some reels and just get video content edited later. And then I notice you kind of do vice versa. You could tell when I'm just doing a bunch of stories. And then there were times, probably I think before we both moved, where we were at the parks at the same time and we would hand it off to each other, which I
mhm,
think could be fun to do that
I
more
think it
often,
can.
right? Because it's just going to be more natural that we're both at parks at the same time on different coasts.
This was actually a conversation that came up with me and one of the friends of the pod as well. Like,
What?
how do you guys manage? I'm like, I think it's just magically working so far, but we should
Yeah.
probably figure something out. So yeah, let's start doing that. I'm not the best at looking at our own stories too. So like sometimes it's just out of like pure luck that we didn't overlap. Because it can get confusing, especially if you're in Magic Kingdom and I'm in Disneyland. It's like they're similar enough to where it's like, wait, what's going on here? Right? So,
Yeah, it can, and it could be jarring. Let's say you had like three Instagram stories in a row that are part of the same ride, like maybe you're on a dark ride, and then all of a sudden I'm like in there eating a hot dog, and then it goes back to the end of your ride. That'd be funny.
right. And it'll be like
Although
different time of day, light
I
where
did
I'm at, dark where you're at.
I riffed off of one of yours recently on purpose. So I
Oh,
could
shoot. I missed it. What
yeah,
was it?
I could tell that you were kind of wrapping up your day at Disneyland. We can just tell. We just know these things. And the last thing you had posted was Matterhorn, something with Matterhorn. So then I quickly I was already at Animal Kingdom, so I went to Everest and posted in the queue one of those where am I things. And
Oh,
it
good.
definitely confused people because it's like, wait, Matterhorn, but they're at Everest now. Like, what's going on? I was the other one really Everest and not Matterhorn? I thought it was funny.
I wonder what I
Um,
posted. Was it nighttime for mine?
I can't even remember.
I posted one randomly the other day, but it was the beginning of my day, and it said, "Oh, those snow-capped mountains," and I zoom
Oh,
over, and
that's
it's the
exactly what it
Matterhorn.
was. That's what it was. Yeah, it was what a beautiful view.
Yeah,
Something like
something
that
like
where I
that.
could tell it wasn't necessarily part live at the park. Oh my God, that's so funny. But yeah, more of this to come and just endless local living Disney holic stories.
Yeah. And speaking of the idea of me moving here, for me personally, I kind of had the option of living near my work or near Disneyland. And I figured since I only go to work 2 days a week anyway, I'm going to live by Disneyland. And the biggest reason for that was that I can have the opportunity to just pop over because it's so close anytime somebody's in town going to Disneyland, because this happens, right? Like, where else do you know that people are likely going to visit once every few years at least, right?
Right.
Like Disneyland, everybody comes to Disneyland at some point or Disney World. So, like, I wanted to live here for those moments that people are in town. And I have visited so many people in the last 2 weeks in the park just for like an hour or two. I just run over there real quick, get to hang out with them, go on a ride, eat dinner, come home. Like it's amazing. And I had my first weekend long guests. Shout out to Joy and Jessica. We did some fun stuff, which I'll talk about in a little bit together, but they also stayed over. Well, Jessica didn't stay here, but Joy stayed here. Um, so I had my first like weekend visitor, and I'm just like so excited about it. Christy's coming this next weekend. We're gonna go to Disneyland too. We're taking her little
Wow.
boy London to Disneyland for his first time.
Oh wow, that's a big milestone.
Crazy. It's gonna be so cute. She's training him well. She's been taking him on carousels. He knows the whole Grim Grinning Ghost song. He's
Oh.
chanting that he wants to go to Disneyland. Like he's hyped. This is good. I'm very excited for it.
Oh,
You don't
that's
hear that out of
cute.
me often. Auntie Jen for just a few minutes and they'll probably be over it, right? But that's okay.
And you just
I'm
live
gonna be
right
the
around the
camera
corner.
person.
So you could
Exactly.
easily
I can just go home and come
yeah.
back. Um, but yeah, one other thing I wanted to mention about being a local that I was really bummed out about. And I think anybody who listens to this podcast would know. I am a big fan of Fat Cat Swinger, right? And they do our intro song. We love them. They're a great company and they are a great company. Did I say a great company? They
Band.
are
Yeah,
a
they are a
great company.
band.
They are a band, but they are also a great company. Um, and I was like, oh my God. Like when they start playing for Food and Wine, I'm gonna live down the street. I could just see them all the time. Like it's gonna be amazing. And I could go see their shows outside of the parks. Like this is crazy. And then I saw the lineup for Food and Wine and they weren't on it. And I was so sad. I was like, no, the first event that happens when I move here and they're not on the bill. And then out of nowhere, they got added to it
Oh,
only
they're
for
working
two
it out.
nights.
They're working it out in the
They're
back
working it out,
behind the
but I am very
scenes.
excited. I've already booked those 2 days to see them, and I'm staying home Easter weekend just so I could see Fat Cat Swinger. So,
I do like that like these live performances that might not have been something we would travel all the way for are just around the corner. Like the other day, Air Supply, who I actually really like their music. Like I grew up listening to those love
yeah,
songs, right?
it's old school.
They're playing at Epcot, but because we have Instagram and stuff, I was already looking. The line went like all the way around World Showcase. So I was like, okay, I'm not gonna go, but I like the idea that I could have if I wanted to. I could have waited in the queue. But yeah, real popular, mostly an older crowd. So free concert, pretty cool.
Is Air Supply that sexy girl song?
I'm all out of love. I'm so lost without
Oh,
you.
I'm so far off of what I
They're
thought
from
that
like
was.
this is like Journey, Foreigner, like that group. Africa,
Okay, okay.
Toto. It was that whole group. Oh, Yacht Rock. You know, I love
Gotcha.
my Yacht Rock.
You do love your yacht rock for
Yeah,
sure.
so they had big following. Um But yeah, I just like that those things are there and you're easily able to go to it. Today, I was kind of bored in the afternoon and it was getting hot, so I decided to check the Universal
It's
Studios
already
app.
hot.
It's already hot.
Oh
75
no.
today felt like it didn't say real feel 100, but if you ask me, I felt like it was
Mike
100.
feel.
Might feel 100. But it was like 3 o'clock, 4 o'clock, and I checked the Universal Studios app, and Dudley Do Right's Rips Off Falls was 40 minutes. So that was exciting to me because now I know there's people on it and I want to go squirt people. And the last couple of times I
Oh
went
my
there,
God.
it was too cold. So there were all empty logs and I was getting frustrated. So I was like, this is the day. So I went all the way over there just to do this. And I
Hilarious.
was very satisfied. It was back to back logs of full groups, and it was so hot, so everybody was like screaming and laughing at the squirts because it's funny and scary, but you also
And
want
it
it when
felt
you're
good.
hot. It felt good. I was risking like sunburn on the back of my neck, and can you believe this? They now charge $1 per squirt. $1
Per squirt?
per squirt.
How much money did you blow today?
When I went like 3 weeks ago, it was two squirts per dollar. And I can't believe they changed it. I spent today at least
Whew.
$10. And but what
Okay,
was
that's not too bad.
not too bad. What was fun was I stuck around long enough to like see operations for that attraction, which is fun. So there was a cast member or team member or whatever that came by like every 10 minutes with a special card, and he would go to each pump and swipe it so that everybody can press it. And so I would get a free
Okay.
one like every now and then. And that's helpful so that the ride continues getting squirted,
Yeah, yeah.
right? So I always wondered about that. Like, why'd they make people pay? Then the end of the ride isn't as wet, but this is how they do it. So that was fun. I learned about that. And yeah, those are just little fun, silly
You just have
things
to
we could
make
do as
friends with
locals.
the card guy,
I need to swipe that
right?
card
You're
from
like,
him.
get over here, just hand it to me.
Like, hey,
I'll
good
give you
times.
$10 and I'll just sit here swiping your card for the next hour and a half.
Right? Hot.
Wow. See, these are the things that like we would never have thought. Like it's some of it is very obvious and some of it we knew what we are getting ourselves into, but things like that specifically are those things
Yeah,
where you're just like, okay, this is like some local stuff for sure. Like,
right?
and like
It's
you have
like
to be local to do that
you have
too.
to be
Like if you live
local.
like an hour away, you're never gonna do that for the day.
It's like sit at home and play video games for an hour or go squirt people, but also get some sun and get out of the
Yeah, and
house.
get
I'm
some
like,
steps and
perfect.
people watch. Totally.
Uh-huh, uh-huh.
Actually, Joy and I had a great classic Disneyland day this weekend. We were feeling just kind of like, whatever, just like roll with whatever we want to feel. And so I was like, well, you haven't watched the Disneyland band like I have, so I'm going to put you through that experience. So we went and got our favorite snacks. I got not my favorite, I guess. She got my favorite. She got popcorn. And then I got a Disneyland pretzel, jalapeno and cheese pretzel. And then we stayed
Ooh.
right in front of the castle and watched the Disneyland band perform. And she liked it so much, we stuck around and watched a second viewing. Thank you very much. Whole second show, brand new set. So good. They are amazing. And I want to give a shout out to Ned, aka Goofy. You know what I'm talking about? GH
Uh-huh, uh-huh.
Goofy. I met him in Disneyland after all these years, and he was there with
Wow.
4 generations of family. Isn't that so cool?
All Disney
Big
fans,
group.
I bet.
Oh, yes,
How
absolutely. Totally Disney
exciting.
family. It was
Shout out,
so,
Ned.
so
What's
sweet.
up?
So, yeah, definitely shout out to Ned. It was great getting to hang out with you in front of the Disneyland castle. And then I ran into his whole family later again, too. So that was nice. But yes, so some time at the park has been so nice. But there were a couple things I wanted to specifically talk about, and these are more so on the event types of things. One of these was an unofficial fan day, and one was an official Disney Parks day.
Ooh.
So, first off was Adventureland Day. Now, this was not, oh, wait, was it just this last weekend? It was, huh? Like last Sunday. It feels
Adventureland
like,
Day.
oh,
Was
wait,
it
not
ki
this past weekend. It was
was
the
it
weekend
around
before.
the time of the Indiana Jones anniversary?
Yes. Yeah.
Okay.
So it was right before the Indiana Jones anniversary. So it was 2 weekends ago on the 2nd. And then Indiana Jones anniversary was the 5th. And then now we just had another weekend. So
Wow. What a nice way to lead up to that from the fans.
yeah, right. It was super cool. I didn't really plan too much because I'm still in like I just moved in mode and I'm not trying to buy costumes yet kind of attitude. So
Get a
I put
costume
together
trunk,
what I
start filling
could.
it up.
Yeah, and don't have those yet. But I did find a green collared shirt, a brown brimmed like adventure kind of hat, Indiana Jonesy hat. I don't know what you call those hats.
A
Um,
lifeguard
and
hat, an explorer hat.
explorer hat, lifeguard hat. They don't wear
I just saw it at Costco.
Wendy
It was called
Peppercorn.
lifeguard hat, and I was like, "Why is it called that?" But it looked exactly like an Adventureland hat, and it stuck. It's still on my mind.
That's weird.
I
Yeah,
guess
I
you
don't
can wear
know.
it as at the top of your
I guess
white
they blocked
tower.
their sun with something, right?
Yeah,
I can actually picture it now, but it would be different than the Adventureland hat that I'm thinking of.
yeah,
But
yeah. Sun hat,
anyway,
sun hat.
I had some kind of big brim hat on that I never wear, and I did my hair in braids, and it worked. It was like bringing me back to 1989 when I was a brownie in Girl Scouts. And I felt very much like I was leading a troop of Girl Scouts around for the day. But it was cute and fun. Tons of people showed up. Um,
You look like you could have
it
been
was,
a skipper on Jungle Cruise.
yeah, right. I could have pulled it off. Thanks. Hey, I even like
Hmm.
put a little like leopard print bandana on my belt loop just because I
Very
was like,
cute.
why not? A little more adventure in there. Why? That's all I got. Should have brought like a compass or something and gotten really into it. Um, but needless to say, no matter how hard I tried, people outdid me with their costumes tenfold. Like some of these costumes were so cool and so creative and so fun. And to Christy's point, she's like, "How did they get in?" I thought costumes were not allowed in the park. I was like, you know what? There is a fine line there of like what's considered a costume versus regular clothes, right?
Yeah.
Adventureland definitely teeters that line. There was some people where I was like, okay, that for sure is a costume, but they all got in and they looked amazing. So I will be definitely sharing some photos this week on our feed on Instagram to show you a little more of like what people did for Adventureland Day. Um, and shout out to Jason. He met up with me at some point in the day in Adventureland Day, and it was so funny because he messaged me in a large mass of people that were there for Adventureland Day, and he goes, "I'm the one in the safari outfit."
Clever.
And first of all, he pulled it off so well. He looked so cute. He had this like really cool jacket on, and then he had this like bright, colorful ascot. Is that what it's called?
Yeah, like Fred from Scooby-Doo.
Yes, yes, exactly. But it was like all colorful, and then the rest was like khaki colors. And so he had these really cool sunglasses on. Nice look, very good look for him. I think he should wear that more often. But anyway, it was tons of fun. The day started off with me taking way too long to get ready. So I Ubered over because this is another thing about being local. It was like a $7 Uber ride. So I'm like,
Easy
okay, I
peasy.
want to make it there way faster and not have to deal with parking my car. So I'm just going to Uber over. So I did. And I still missed the original photo. So they started the day off with a group photo in front of Jungle Cruise, which is super cute. And then they all sang the Adventurers Club theme song, which is the part I was really excited for. And I freaking missed
Wow.
it by like two
From
seconds.
the defunct restaurant, lounge, live entertainment venue at Pleasure Island in Disney World.
That's right. That
What is
is
that thing
right.
they
So
say?
cool.
Bar Bumbazoo, Lingalurla, Linky Lee,
Kungaloosh!
Leaky Lee,
I knew
Kungaloosh,
exactly what you were going for there.
Kungaloosh, Kungaloosh. I wish we could have gone to that in our days.
I know, I know. I was so mad to know that I was there when it was still open with Danielle, and we weren't into
Same.
things like that at the time. We were parks only, like we're first time as adults in Disney World, and we're just not going anywhere else. But anyway, um, so what else did we do for Adventureland Day? So we started there, and then everybody went on Tiki Room together. That was super cute and fun. We like had a Tiki Room takeover. Um, and then we moved on to go to the Jungle Cruise. So a million adventurers in line at the Jungle Cruise, just like really cool aesthetic to see. And then after that, we were like, let's do a takeover of Bengal Barbecue and Tropical Hideaway. So this was kind of like notated in the details of the day prior to going. Like, get your mobile orders in early, right? Because there's going to be a lot of us doing the same thing at the
Oh.
same time. So we all did. We did it when we did it when we were in the tiki room. It's like blasphemy if you ask me, but we did it. It's okay. Needed to happen. Um, and we got our food and we ate with a bunch of people. It was super cute. Then that was followed up by another photo shoot in or near the train station by the flagpole. And then they launched the scavenger hunt, which you know me, both of
Ooh.
us, we love a good scavenger hunt. So
This is
Adventureland had put together,
fan made.
yeah. They actually had it was cool. It was like, you know those things where you have to text some random number, like 5-digit number and say Adventureland, and then it'll start sending you prompts.
Yeah, like the Monsters Inc. joke submission box.
Yes,
Yeah.
totally,
Okay.
totally. So they had set that up somehow for this event.
Cool.
So you could just text it and it would give you clues and you have to go solve them. And then once you type in the correct answer, it gives you the next clue. Very well done.
That's so
Super cool.
easy.
I know. I want to make one
Okay,
for us
let's make
very
one.
bad. So I need to figure that out. Yeah. Um, and then at the very end, there was this insane page, like graph of all of these um what do you call them, like icons or like hieroglyph kind of things. They're all like, and you need a cipher for it, right? Like this
Oh, okay, yeah.
symbol is an H, this symbol is an I, right? And then you have to then take your cipher and decode the whole thing, right? However, I don't know what happened, but they sent the wrong decoder to everybody, and
Whoops.
so we couldn't solve anything. I'm like, I don't even see half of these on here. Like, what's going on? And so, like, maybe 10 minutes into it, they sent a blast out and was like, just kidding. That's not correct. So, everybody just come here. And so, the end point was somewhere in Galaxy's Edge. We all met up and they gave us all pins for finishing the scavenger
Ooh.
hunt. It was very cute. So, now I have this little Adventureland Day pin, which I thought that was cool. It's like free swag. Nobody paid anything to be there. Just super fun, very generous, and oh my God, the crowd, besides being generous, like everyone was so freaking nice. Like everyone at Adventureland Day just wanted to get to know you. Like everybody was there to hang out with each other. Um, it was just super sweet. It's one of those things where you go do another regular day in Disneyland and it just feels completely different, right?
Ah,
Because you
there
have
you go.
this new group of people, new trajectory for the day. Like it's just it was cool. It was
How
super, super
fun.
cool. So,
The that puzzle you talked about is giving classic Indiana Jones AT&T sponsored
yes, totally.
hieroglyphic cards, right? How fun. It goes so well with Adventureland.
Totally. Yeah. It was really cute.
Ooh.
They were different symbols, but the same idea. Totally. Yeah. It was very, very well done. I was very sad that that last piece didn't work out, but hey, things happen. It's okay.
Kungaloosh.
They even had a couple live actors, I would say,
Huh.
that you participated with. Like, there's one part where they say, go to like find some shady characters under the monorail track near the Matterhorn station. So you go over there and you have to follow the Matterhorn track or the monorail track, and then there's two guys with umbrellas, so that's why they're shady. Get it? It's like a joke. So cute. And the
Dad
guy
joke come
had
to
a
life. I
number
love
on
it.
his parasol, and you had to then take that number and do some math with it. That was in the clue. So it's just like
Ooh.
super, super cute. There was another time another parasol was involved with somebody up in the Swiss Family Tree Robinson house that you had to like, or the Adventureland house, sorry. Had to find them and do something with their code that they gave. And they're just really, really cute. Just like, I don't know, really, really nice, fun day, well put together. And then the last thing for the day was to all ride Indy together at three o'clock. And then the event wrapped up at 4. So it was like first half of the day. You also have the whole rest of the evening to just do Disneyland as is, meet up with other people, or go home, which I almost did. I was
As a
really tired.
local, it's nice if you just are done.
Yeah, and I actually have a story to share about that real quick. I had a major Disney fail
Uh,
that day. I forgot because I did not bring my normal stuff with me, right? I'm now in this Adventureland outfit and I don't have like my regular bag or any of the other stuff. I didn't bring my external charger. And of course, I was recording everything on my phone, right?
Oh, yeah.
My phone died super fast. And I was like, man, this sucks. Like, what am I going to do? Like, I have to meet up with Fargo because she's my roommate and I love her to death. And we're going to meet up at the end of whenever she gets here from work. And I was going to go home with her. I'm like, how am I going to get a hold of her? My phone
Oh,
was
shoot.
almost dead. So I decided one of my friends, Kelly, shout out to Kelly, in our group, took her number and messaged her for me. So they're now communicating because my phone was very close to dying. And then we were in line for Starbucks. We're going to head over to DCA. My phone had already died. And she goes, wait, how are you going to get into DCA? And I'm like, oh my God, I don't have my magic band. I don't have a spare charger. Nobody had the charger. I could go buy one of those freaking fuel pods or whatever they're
Fuel
called, fuel
rods.
rods. And I was like, but I'm just like, no, I only need to make it like one more hour before Fargo gets here. I don't want to buy one
Dang.
of
And
those
you had
stupid
no
things.
magic band on either?
No magic band.
Oh,
And so I was like,
yeah,
you know what? I'll
yeah.
just kick it here. I'll just hang out here. It's fine. Um, but then again, Fargo came in to save the day. Shout out to Fargo. She sent Kelly a screenshot of my annual pass.
How?
She has it linked in her account. You know,
Oh,
you can have
that's
your friends
right.
linked.
Yeah. Oh my God, that's perfect.
So luckily, she still had me linked. She took a screenshot, sent it over. I was able to get into to DCA.
That's so funny. Yeah, I was seeing your photos the last couple of weeks, so we are all linked somehow. That's so
Oh yeah,
funny.
that's funny. That was heck of funny. What was? Oh yeah, you saw the photo of me and Joy and Jessica, right? At 90's
Yeah, I'm
night.
like,
That's great.
ooh. Um, funny enough, I have two comments about your comments.
Okay.
The fuel rod. So it's the gift that keeps on giving. Like I keep forgetting I have it. I have like two or three that I bought, which is dumb. You only need one. But so I've been bringing it to the parks, and then the other day I went to do an exchange, a swap, which are free, and it upgraded me. It was like, you are now being upgraded to the newest fuel rod, blah, blah, blah.
Ooh.
And it looks the same, but it's more powerful. There's an actual button to turn it on and off, which is so helpful because it dies
Ooh.
so fast.
Maybe I need to take mine in and swap it.
Swap it. And then it has like USB-C, so it has the more
Mm-hmm.
modern things. So I was looking into the rabbit hole. If you I think if you buy it now, you have to pay per swap. But anyone who bought it at the time when they were saying it's free swaps were forever grandfathered into this program where it knows we'll always get it free and it will always upgrade us to the newest. And then so I went to Universal, tried to do the swap, tried to charge me like $4. So it's only Disney. Within Disney,
Oh,
that was the agreement.
interesting.
Yeah. I've seen
I
them at
remember that
airports
about
too.
somebody was trying to get one at the airport. Yeah, airport. And it was
Yep.
charging them.
Trying to charge them. So,
Wow.
and it's still not that much. It's like three or four, but the whole selling point at the time, wow, it must have been at least more than 10 years ago, was
You know, you
that
think about it, you probably got your money's worth in electricity to power all those batteries
so
after
much,
years.
so much money's worth. It reminds me of like DVC where you buy the vacation points and it's locked in forever and ever at that
Yeah,
price.
yeah.
So I was like, all right, I'm glad I got
How
these
that's
fuel
fascinating
rods.
that it knows to follow whatever the new, if you have a totally different one now too, it's able to
Yeah.
follow it.
Yeah. And then they
That's
gave me the
crazy.
whole package again with all the little adapters and stuff. Okay, so
Ooh.
that's fuel rod. So yes, it is a lifesaver if you remember to bring it. And then Indiana Jones. So I had recently on Sunday gone to Animal Kingdom Saturday, I think Saturday, and rode Dinosaur. First of all, it's a long wait because it's going away after this year, so everybody's getting excited about it, which is fine. Like, what do they say? Get your. It's not oats. It's like
Hicks on Route 66?
get your. Go ahead, get your blah blah blah. I can't think of it. It's like what the young people say. I think it's
Oh,
I think it's oats. Get your
you're
something.
acting
Anyways,
asking an old person, so I don't
I'm
know.
glad it's getting its whatever. And
Right?
like same with like Muppet Vision 3D has long lines now. But it was the longest I've ever waited for Dinosaur, like 30 minutes, I think. And no matter what, I can't. help but just the whole time I'm writing, I'm trying to figure out which part of Indiana Jones this is. Since it's the same track, I'm like, okay, that dinosaur is actually the snake. This is the part where we go under the bridge of fire. I'll be like, this is where the insects are supposed to be projected, and a dinosaur, it's just dark, complete. There's nothing. So it's like waste. Um, so that's why I don't understand how there are any fans of this ride that are getting mad that it's going away because it's such an inferior ride to Indiana Jones.
Maybe
But I
they've
guess if
never been on Indiana
you've never
Jones.
been, yep. I was with somebody who had never been on it, had never been to Disneyland. And so they only knew Dinosaur and thought it was a
Shame.
very scary
Just
ride.
kidding.
And then shame for sure. And then after that, some news was released, which we can do a whole other episode about all the news from South by Southwest. But they did mention that the Indiana Jones ride coming to Animal Kingdom, Tropical America's Land, is not, I repeat, is not going to be a clone of Indiana Jones Anaheim or Indiana Jones Japan. It's going to be its own new thing, which is very exciting. I don't know if they're trying to trick us with the wording and it's still going to be the same exact track, or if
I
they're
was gonna
just
say.
right, or are they just going to demolish that entire thing and start from scratch? I don't know. Both are exciting because that
Hmm.
means we'll have a third indie adventure to ride through. Love it.
Wow.
Love it.
That's good. That's what they should have done with Pod 2. I
Should have
said
done
it.
it with Batu.
Should have said.
1000%.
Shoulda, coulda, woulda. Well, that is a wrap up of Adventureland Day. Very fun. Make sure you guys all check out these independent fan days. Are so cute. They're just like fun. If you go to Disneyland a lot, try to make it there on one of the days that they have these events and just participate. Get into it. Like let yourself go for a little bit and like just get into it and meet some people. Even if you don't know anybody, just show up. Everybody there is so friendly at every single one of these events I've ever been to. So, guaranteed you will make some new friends. All right, on to 90's night. So this was now an official Disney night. It was a Disneyland After Dark event. Um, and Jessica and Joy visited and came down for this event specifically. And man, it was cold. I will just start
Oh,
there. It was raining, dumping rain all day. It was freezing. And I was like, okay, we have to rethink everything now because we had poor Joy. She rocked it, man. For the fashion, that girl, she went hard. She had figured out like a grunge outfit. She's wearing overalls
ooh.
with a short sleeve t-shirt, a choker, and then had one overall hanging, right? Like you can't hook both of them. You had to have one hanging off. And then she had like a flannel tied around her waist. She could have put the flannel on, but no, that wasn't the style.
It
She had
has
to
to be
keep
the
with it. And it
look.
was so freaking cold. I give her cheers for fashion. I was not about it. I put a sweatshirt on under this jacket. If you are watching me on YouTube right now, this neon jacket I wore over the top of a very thick hoodie. So I
You
was
know what's so
super
crazy
warm.
is that specifically you, Joy, and me all knew each other in the 90's.
We
So
did.
we like we
So
really
you should have
dressed
been
like
there.
that. I know, but we
That's why I'm
really
like,
dressed
why
like
didn't I
that.
dress like a raver? I should have
I
just
picture
dressed like
it.
me in the 90's as
You
my
should have just like kid in the
costume.
90's. I can picture Joy in that outfit with a flannel tied around. And I think
Parting to No Doubt, right?
these themes are now our history. Like, when we
I
were kids,
know.
we would do like 70's night, and it was, a relic of the past.
Yep.
Now it's like our actual lives, like decades ago.
I know. And I was actually having a pretty like funny time just people watching like all these younger generations trying to dress 90's. And I was like, oh my God, like it's so weird that nobody actually knows what this actually was like,
It is very
right?
weird.
It's hecka weird. Um, but anyway, so like I was saying, it was cold, but I had to mention the weather was on our side in a way. It was dumping rain, and then it stopped like as soon as the event started, or as soon as we got
Oh,
to Disneyland, and it literally barely started to sprinkle right at 1 in the morning when it was done. It was like
oh.
perfect. The clouds parted their ways just for enough time for us to enjoy 90's night without it dumping rain on us. It was so lucky. However,
Wow.
tons of puddles. My feet were frozen solid, like numb. I couldn't feel my toes because you can't avoid walking through puddles sometimes when it's been raining all day in theme parks. So, but that doesn't matter. We still had a ton of fun. Oh my God, it was so fun. I will be going back to 90's night for sure. Um, they some of the things that were like kind of funny about it was they kept playing a few things over and over and over. We're like, all right, enough. Backstreet Boys, NSYNC,
Ah,
and Britney Spears and Christina. Like, enough. No
enough.
more. Every so often they'd bust out some Mariah. Did you see my little wish you
Ooh.
were here message on
At
my
my
story?
TV.
Yep, yep. Um,
Quintessential 90's.
right? Every so often they bust out a Mariah, a Whitney, and we'd be like, okay, or like it takes two to make a thing go right. We're like, yes, like
Ooh, I
more of
like
this,
that.
please.
Like the
And
dance
it just
music.
didn't seem to peek through a lot. But the one song we heard a lot as well was Phantasmic's theme song. That was kind of funny because that's very
Oh,
90's, right?
interesting. And that
90's
doesn't play
Disney.
normally, I suppose.
Yeah, no, not
In
on
the
like just the
loop.
random background music. This was like
Yeah,
in the areas that you're walking through, they just had music playing.
I like that.
Um, But very cute projections, super 90's styles. They had changed a lot of the meet and greets to those walk-through ones, which I'm like really preferring now because you could still get pretty good photos with the characters as selfies and
Yeah.
stuff.
I saw a lot of discourse online about that change, and I thought it was a good change because I like the way when you introduced me to that style, it was at Oogie Boogie Bash.
Yeah, yep.
And it's just so much better. You get best of both worlds. It doesn't take up too much time. You get to see them, and you could take video pictures, right? Like, what's the big
Yeah,
deal?
when I of course prefer pictures with standing with the character, but if it's gonna completely change my entire night from not having to wait in lines all the time,
Yeah.
I mean, it's worth it. Like that's the way to look at it. It's definitely worth it to be able to do all the other things. Like we had food, we met a ton of characters, we did all the event, like we did everything. So it was like it was great. Um, one of the really cool ones was they had what's his name? Clopin, right?
Clopin.
Clopen. That's right. It's an IN, but you pronounce it like an AN, right?
Uh-huh.
They had him in the Fantasy Fair area just under there was like that little area next to the thing that we always show everybody, the tipsy
Where you
topsy
could
turvy
spin from Hunchback of
music
Notre
box
Dame.
thing.
Hmm.
Yep. And it's like right next to that there's this little like greeting area and he was just standing in there. So again, you could just walk right by him and take photos of him.
That's a
So that was
cool
really
one.
cool.
I think it was Disney Parks official, and he looked like a psychopath, which is what he's supposed to be, which is fun.
You right?
And he was winding up that thing.
Yeah, yeah.
Topsy turvy, and he was like zooming in on his face. I love it so much. Very rare character up.
I'm like enjoying these new Disney park um
Yeah.
videos they're doing. They're getting
Whoever's the
into the
new
like
person,
branding that everyone else is following.
like it's a little bit
Um,
weird, it's a little bit out
yeah.
there, but it makes
It's
you
like the
want to watch
Quiznos
it.
commercial all over again, right? It's like that. Do you remember that?
They're like two
With the
creatures or
little
something. Yeah,
like the weird guys.
vaguely. Yep.
But that was like the first like really weird, bizarre commercial I think we saw, and that set everyone off. Everybody started doing weird stuff after
Weird
that, and it
one.
was great.
Wait, you can't forget about the classic Noid,
Oh,
the
the
Noid
Noid.
from
He wasn't that
Domino's.
weird.
It's weird.
Yeah, I guess he was kind of weird. Fine, Noid.
Fine.
Fine, fine. Beam. Shout out to my old manager. Another really popular meet and greet was Esmeralda and Phoebus. We did not wait for them,
Ooh.
but I saw them from afar.
I like Esmeralda. Okay.
Yeah, it was very cute. Another one that I didn't want to wait for, which I'm kind of sad I didn't, but it was a long line. It was the beginning of the night, and it's super far at the very back of Toontown. Like it wasn't even near the front of Toontown. You had to like walk to the depths of Toontown to meet Fat Cat and Monterey Jack.
From Rescue Rangers, Disney Afternoon. That's so
Yep.
specific.
So freaking cute.
Wow.
And I was kind of bummed out I didn't spend time on that, but I had so much fun and it's fine. And then they had like a whole walkthrough area in Fantasyland Theater where you can meet Darkwing Duck, Huey, Dewey, and Louie. Um, what's his name? Oh my God.
Launchpad.
The tailspins guys. The yeah, Launchpad. Thank you.
Oh,
Launchpad, and who was standing next to him? I forget.
um, was it Baloo? Was it the whole crew from
I don't think Baloo was there yet.
Tailspin?
It was somebody else, but
Uncle
I can't remember who it was.
Scrooge?
Oh yeah, Scrooge. Scrooge was there.
Oh, oh,
But Scrooge and
fun.
Launchpad. But they would all swap out, right? So like then you would get King Louie and Baloo out if they swapped for those
Oh,
two. They also had some fun like backdrops. Like they had a gummy bears backdrop. I was kind of sad that the gummy bears weren't there because I know they
ooh,
have
that
those
would have
costumes
been
somewhere. At least they did.
nice.
Um, but nonetheless, super cute. I just saw something on this page I did not even know they had, and I'm hecka mad that I missed it. They had a Honey I Shrunk the Kids backdrop. That would have been hecka cool.
Wow.
I did not know that.
That theater where Honey I Shrunk the Audience is has been sitting empty for quite a while. They should have put it back on for you guys that night. That would have been
They
fun.
should have. Oh my God, could you imagine Honey I Shrunk the Audience just for the night? Ugh,
That'd be nice.
it was so cool. They also had a cavalcade. It was this song talking about rainbows, and I'm like, what does this have to do with 90s? It doesn't sound 90s. Um, but whatever. I
Oh,
guess
that's
it's
it?
supposed to be.
Mystery not solved.
Well,
What
Jessica
is it?
said she thinks it's recycled from a Tokyo parade, which is hilarious. They
Oh,
just pulled some random song that
fair.
not everybody knows, but it's like it was fun and poppy, so it fit, but it just was like,
Owl
what is this?
City.
I don't know. Yeah, right, exactly. And they had a parade featuring a bunch of the different characters from the 90s, which is really cute to see. They also had Goofy and Max dance party over at Tomorrowland Terrace.
Oh, I saw a lot
And
of
then
that
Max
online.
Max would turn into Powerline at some point in the night. So you like go backstage and change a costume and come back out.
That was
And it
really
was really
cool.
cute. The night that I was there, the Tomorrowland Terrace dance floor was flooded. So they weren't letting anybody down
Oh,
there. So then they had them kind of up close to where you sit kind of above, like where you eat your Galactic Grill food in those like outdoor seating areas that kind of look onto that dance floor. That was now where everybody was standing. However, there's tables
oh,
still. So it was like hard to get a
oh,
place to see. And they would be dancing down in front. So like we just had a little altered
oh,
experience than
interesting.
the other night did. And then I wanted to talk about this other thing they had there. They had, first of all, a bunch of dance parties with 90s music playing, which is fun. But they had a 90s sing along inside the Golden Horseshoe. And this was heck
Oh,
of fun. I thought it was going to be like, I don't know. I was actually excited for it, but like I couldn't tell exactly what it was going to be. And I found out it was karaoke and I was kind of like less excited. I thought it was more like everybody get into it. Um, but it's karaoke and I was like kind of like, oh, I don't know if I want to be here for this, but I'm glad I stayed because it was heck of fun. Like all these random Disney holics were getting up on stage and just singing their little Disney hearts out. It was heck of funny. It was a mix of 90s Disney music and 90s pop music. And they were just getting into it. Everybody was screaming and cheering for everybody. It was super, super cute.
from what I
And
saw on your post, I thought there was a really cute attention to detail, like the karaoke screen graphics, like had that character that they used on sing-alongs. I don't
oh,
know.
from the Disney sing-alongs?
Yeah, yeah. I was like, wow, it's not just they didn't just put on the song from a karaoke laser disc or something.
Right.
Like it
Yeah.
was full
Yeah.
on
Like
themed
YouTube
a little
karaoke
bit.
or something.
Yep.
Yeah, it was cute. And that was very 90s as well, right? So
Yep.
it was a nice fit. And then they had out of nowhere, we weren't ready for it at all. Out of nowhere, somebody finished the last karaoke song and boom, here comes a full-on dance performance out on stage. And we're like, what is going on? It was called the 90s Rad Review, and we didn't think they were going to be inside there, but it was raining, so they put them indoors because normally they
Oh.
perform above the arch that goes over Pirates of the Caribbean. But we got to see them from the seats we were already in. And they did a couple different songs, and we're like, okay, this is a little cheesy. Like, we weren't really feeling it. And then they did this mega mix. Thank you very much. Hot 97.7 mega mix. St. John, you're so fierce. But,
St. John. Oh my gosh. Any Bay Area Disney holics should know exactly the DJ we're talking about.
right. And it was one of those quick mixes where it was like probably like 50s or 50 90s one hit wonders or really popular tracks all smashed into like a 5 minute track of them dancing. And it was so cool. We were so excited. People were cheering for their like favorite songs when they popped up. Um, Salt and Pepper, Push It came on. I like lost my mind. I was like, all right, this is amazing. This is actually like really, really fun. So that was a nice surprise. It's one of those things you weren't expecting, and there it is.
Whoop,
Um,
there it is.
Other than that, we tried a bunch of food because we had the time. Yeah, Whoop,
Oh.
there it is was definitely in there. Um, and what else was I going to tell you about? Oh, 90's night on Tuesday got a little special treatment though, and I was a little jealous.
Ooh.
So on Tuesday, Susan Egan herself, Disney legend Susan Egan, aka voice of Belle and many other things, but most of you will probably know her as Belle, showed up to the sing along and sang in front of everybody. Like, what? That's so cool. We've seen it because we've been to D23, but not everybody has. That
Yeah,
is
that's neat.
so cool in an intimate setting like the Golden Horseshoe. So cute. So then for our 90's night, I kept screaming. I was like, "Where's Jodie Benson?" Because like, you're gonna have Susan Egan once, you're probably gonna have Jodie Benson the other night, but nope, she wasn't there. And the
Darn,
first night for
I
90's
was
night, they also
sure.
had Bill Farmer show up.
Oh, I definitely thought Susan Egan came on your night. What a bummer.
Nope, nope, she was there the first one. That's such a cool. I was thinking, I'm like, okay, Bill Farmer and Susan Egan showed up to the first 90's night. I was like, that if they start doing that, that's actually really freaking smart and cool. To like bring it because people like Disney fandom is popular enough now to where we know this kind of stuff, right? Like we're
Like
gonna
little mini
recognize and know who Susan Egan is.
D23 they could say presented by the D23 fan club.
Yeah, the D23 could bring in that portion of it totally and like have
Yep.
them there to like do a little performance or have Bill Farmer do some impressions somewhere or like take photos with him and Goofy together or something. Like how I just think that's really smart. Like I remember saying that they should have had Bob Gurr come in before. Like I just think stuff like that would be neat to like bring
Wait, so
in.
Bill Farmer does the voice of Goofy,
Yes.
and I'm assuming also Goofy Movie and Goof Troop. Okay, those are all 90's, and that was probably like his heyday. What a time. How cool.
Right? So
Wait,
that
so you're
was
talking about food.
adorable.
What is 90's food and what did you like?
Oh, yeah, I don't know if it really hit the 90's too well. It was kind of weird. Like I feel
That one's
like
kind of
for
a stretch. Like,
me,
how do you theme it? That's hard.
yeah, it's hard. Like for me, 90's is like freaking sugar. Like Fruitopia. Um, those like
Gushers,
yeah,
fruit
Gushers.
snacks,
Like that was like the height of I guess the 80's too though, but like the
fruit by
height
the
of the
foot.
packaging with like neons and like sugar everything, Jolt Cola, like just like over the top sugar and caffeine and
Warheads,
oh my God,
sour
warheads.
warheads.
I keep thinking of some like sour goo candy, but I think that might have been in the 80's. And I was also very much mixing the 80's and 90's up, even though I lived through both of them. I had a side ponytail. I'm like, this is actually 80's, I think, but that's okay.
It could be like 91,
Right? Yeah.
right
It's
on
the
the
early
cusp, right
90's.
on the cusp.
Those decades are definitely like 5 years off, right? Like the 90's is really
Yeah, because
95 to 2005.
you and I are Zennials, technically, where we have one foot in Gen X and the other in Millennial. And it's just a very sweet spot of time that defined us.
Yep. It was funny. I was actually listening to this podcast about music this morning, and they were talking about, they're like breaking down this song, and they're talking about the 90's, about how like you didn't have phones. And so you just were out. And if anything along your journey of your whole day got screwed up, then everything else threw off. And how do you even find your friends? Because the song they're dissecting Regulators by Warren G. And they were just like they kept saying like,
Oh,
oh,
the
Nate Dogg's
song
just out
Regulator by
driving
Warren
around
G.
looking for Warren G. Like, yeah, that's
So
what we did.
funny.
We would just like know where Mike usually hangs out. We would just go find him. Like that
We
was
should
like
find
how it
him.
was. It was so crazy. And so I actually have a question for you with that thought. And since we're in the 90's right now, who was the first person you knew that had a cell phone?
First person I knew that had a cell phone?
Yeah.
Um, I can't think of it. I feel like it popped so quickly at once, but I know I know I got one early on, so maybe it was myself. No, I'm just kidding. Because
Maybe.
I worked at a pager store
Oh,
at the
that's right.
mall, and then it eventually became like the flip phone started showing up there, and I remember getting one pretty quickly. And then there was like the ones right before the flip phones. I can't even say it. That were just kind of like a candy bar size with that long antenna that sticks out.
Yeah.
But then I guess more so 80's, I remember car phones, and I remember an uncle of mine having it like in his sports car. And I just thought it was like the coolest, most futuristic thing ever.
That is so funny. Yeah, car phones, I guess, weren't, I guess, are they kind of cell phones, right? Maybe?
I think they worked in a similar way, and I feel like in my mind they were like $10,000 for some reason.
Yeah, yeah. I remember, so the person I knew that had the first cell phone in our group was this guy named CJ, who was like, did you ever meet CJ?
I don't, the name doesn't ring a bell.
He was like one of those guys that we realized later that none of us probably should have been hanging out with because he's like way older and we were like in high school still. And he
Creepy.
had, huh?
That's creepy,
Yeah,
but
totally. And
explains the cell phone, right?
yeah, he had a cell phone. And I remember we would always bug him to use his cell phone. Like, hey, let me call Mike real quick, or hey, let me call whoever. And he was like, not until after 7 p.m. It was like those weird rules about the time of day
So
you can use
many
the phone.
rules. Yep.
Now we don't even have to worry about long distance. We've come a long ways.
There was peak hours, off peak hours. You had to pay per text message or buy a bundle. And then even with landlines, we had to pay, yeah, long distance to call like San Francisco from
Yeah,
the East Bay.
like 20 miles away, it costs more money. That's
Crazy.
wild. Now we can call basically anywhere in the world, especially if you have an app for it. So
Yep.
anyway, so food, sorry, I totally derailed. Food, they had like these sugar cookies at Harbor Galley, which I don't know how sugar cookies screams 90s, but
Well, you
okay.
did say sugar.
Yes, there was plenty of sugar. These were the thickest, most moist, like
Oh,
heavy sugar cookies I've ever had. They were really good. And then they came with a pile of icing. And I'm like, I don't want this at all. Like these are so sweet already. Like I can't even. They also had peanut butter and jelly beignets, which we tried. Those were really good. Like actually really, really
yeah.
good.
It sounds
And then
good. I'm trying to think of the 90, maybe like lunch boxes. Like
yeah, I
it's a
guess
stretch.
that's
It's a
like
stretch.
yeah, it's just like, well, how old were you in the 90s, right?
Yeah.
It's like that's maybe what we were having in the 90s, but not our parents, you know. Um, and then the last thing I think we tried was the pepperoni, was it just called pepperoni pizza beignet or something like that?
Oh,
So it's a
another beignet.
beignet, but with like pepperoni pizza on it. And it was like a Mickey shape, like two small pepperonis and a big pepperoni. I was like, oh, that's pretty cute. And
That's
it
cute.
was all good. Um, Nothing I'd probably need to rebuy again, but
But it's fun. It's a like a only exclusive to that night, these items, right? These type of
yeah.
events.
I will say one of these did scream 90s to me, and I don't know if and you tell me if this screamed 90s to you. They had a strawberry banana smoothie.
I would say, yeah. I would say the 90's where when smoothies became a
Right? I
chain.
don't think we had smoothies before that
Yeah,
really.
it wasn't something you would go and buy. You'd make it at home in a blender, but in the 90's there were franchises like Jamba Juice, and then we also remember like TCBY, was that what it's called?
Yeah,
Like
yeah.
frozen yogurt and that
Yeah, that
type
was like
of
the very
thing.
first froyo that I remember.
Yeah. Very popular in the 90's, that stuff. Huh.
So yeah, they had lots of fun stuff. Just some of it was like questionable, and then making it 90s is hard. So I'm gonna give them credit anyway.
Yeah, that's hard.
Um,
I probably would have if I were Disney Food and Bev, I might have just gone I would cheat and just put a character from the 90's on everything. It's like do
yeah, right.
the little chocolate
Or at least like
printout.
name it something like
Yeah.
like you know how they have the power limes for those like
Oh, I
taffy
didn't
things
know
they sell
that.
all the time. They have
That's
them at
cute.
in Toontown all the time. That's like smart. Like get some creative names and then that
Yeah.
fixes that, right? Yeah.
Like gadgets, PB&J,
Right.
Nutty Beignet.
Right. Yeah, something.
Monterey Jack. Oh, that already has cheese in it.
Right? There you go. Monterey Jack Monte Cristo or something.
Ooh. Come on, Disney. We
Uh-huh.
got the ideas. Just pay
We've
us.
got all of them. Just let us know. All you gotta do is call. Anyway, 90's Night was a heck of fun. I think my favorite picture, which I didn't talk too much about the characters, but my favorite interaction with characters was meeting the Phantasmic monkeys. That
What?
was
Those blacklight
hecka
ones?
cute.
Okay, that would have been so good if you had a raver outfit on with
I mean, I
those.
had this jacket on,
All
and they were like
neon.
pointing at me and pointing at themselves and pointing at me, and then they're like, "We match." I'm like, "Yeah,"
That's
but
so cute.
I was enjoying just watching them in between every person that came in. They would just dance. They were doing all these 90's dances, and I froze up. I was gonna say when I was gonna go up to them, I was like, do you guys know any 90's dances? Because I saw them doing the Cabbage Patch and the Running Man and the Roger Rabbit. I saw them doing that all already. So I was going to do it with them and have her videotape us. And I just froze up. I'm like, oh, yeah, we have matching outfits. Let's take a picture. And then left. And I'm like, God,
It's
why do
so
I get
hard.
like this?
We get all hyped up in the queue and it's our turn and then everything just flies out of our brain.
Out the window. Oh my gosh. Nonetheless, again, another great time. Also recommend After Dark Nights to everybody. They are so fun. But today we talked about a little bit more about our living situation and really love hearing your feedback. Please give us more, leave us reviews, hit us up on Instagram. Love hearing that you guys are loving it because we are certainly loving it. And we also talked a little bit about a non-official Disney day of Adventureland Day and Disney's official After Dark 90's night.
Very fun, new, and unique ways to experience Disneyland. I love that. Thank you for sharing. I hope you all enjoyed listening to episode 231 of the Disney Holic Show.
Follow us on social media at the Disneyholics.
And if you want to get in touch, send us a DM on Instagram or contact us at thedisneyholics.com.
Okay,
Okay,
bye.
bye. Kungaloosh.
Kagaloosh.